Several countries and relief organizations are pledging money and sending supplies as well as workers to help deal with the devastation. CCTV's Roee Ruttenberg has been monitoring those efforts.
A rescue in action. Members of the Chinese team pull out from the rubble a 20-year-old man who was trapped between two collapsed floors. Beijing has sent in more than 60 specialists to help its quake-stricken neighbor.
This type of situation, an earthquake of this magnitude, is very difficult for rescue because there's not enough space for equipment. We have to go manual, thus enduring a high risk.
A number of other countries have also deployed or are trying to deploy their own teams. Many have nationals in Nepal who are still unaccounted for. India sent in dozens of trucks loaded with much-needed supplies. New Delhi says it has already sent in several teams and has more on standby. Meanwhile, this was the scene at the airport in Tel Aviv on Sunday night, as Israeli soldiers prepare to travel to Kathmandu.
So we plan to build a hospital that will function as a tertiary hospital, which means we can operate, we can have intensive care, hospitalized, and even escort patients, the wounded, the injured, to Israel.
A growing number of countries have also pledged financial support. The UK says it's putting up more than $7.5 million. There's $4 million coming from Australia, $3 million from China, and an initial $1 million coming from the US. This as private support has also been flooding into international NGOs, many of which already have people on the ground.
It's unbelievably difficult. At the best of times, these villages are very hard to access. They are dirt roads that are only four-wheel drive accessible. These villages are literally perched on the sides of mountains and cliff faces.
Aid groups and governments are hoping not to repeat the mistakes of Haiti in 2010, when critics say an overwhelming response lacked organization and in some cases made the situation on the ground worse.
Our team spent most of the day meeting with the United Nations, meeting with Nepal Home Ministry, getting together in what they call the cluster groups. So you have the health group that meets together, food groups, hygiene and sanitation.
In Nepal, coordination will be key. The response to the Haiti quake included $9 billion in international pledges. Aid groups say much of the money and assistance didn't reach the people who needed it most. They're hoping 5 years of reflection and preparation will help ensure this time things will be different. Roee Ruttenberg, CCTV in Washington.